Okay, so right now I want to talk about the second part of 4.2 for the Savitch book. So we are talking about predefined functions. So I want to talk about typecasting that's part of the 4.2. So we have been talking about that on and off in the class, that if we take the double and put it in an integer, it's going to lose its decimal point. But if we take the integer and put it in double, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to add a decimal. So every time you take a smaller thing, you put it in the bigger thing, then nothing is going to happen. But if you take the big one, force it to be in a smaller one, you're going to lose something. So you can think about coffee cups. If you go to store and order a coffee and they give you a wrong one, if you want it small and they give you a large, or the large and they give you a small. So if they want to put a small cup into a big cup, so I'm asking them, I want a small coffee, but put it in the big cup. So the small coffee, we can put it in the big cup, no problem. But if I get a large coffee and I try to put it in a small cup, it's going to have some spill over. So remember, characters are the smallest data type that we have. Then it's going to be integer, then it's going to be your double, and so on. So when you push one to be inside the other one, if it's a bigger one, it's going to lose something. If it's a smaller one, it's not going to lose something. Now, let's look at what we talked about before. So when we are, let's say we have 9 candies and we want to divide it in 4 people. So 9 divided by 4, you kind of expect to have 2.25. But if you remember, we have talked about this, that integer divided by integer is going to result in integer. So 9 divided by 4 is going to give you 2. So what about if I don't want a 2? I want to get a fraction. So if I want to get a 2, no problem. I don't want to cut the candies. So everybody's going to get 2 and I'm going to have leftovers, which is going to define by percent. So 9 divided by 4 is going to be 2 with 1 leftover. But if I want to be precise and I want to make it to have decimal point, then what I'm supposed to do? So I have to make either my numerator or denominator to be double. So when we have any kind of equation, C++ automatically promote things to the larger type. So it's going to give you a warning, but it's not going to be an error. So if I have a mixture of integer and double, my integers become double. If I have a mixture of character and number, my character becomes number. So this is going to be automatically happening. But for 2 reasons. One, it might not do what I'm thinking that it's going to do. 2, is we want to not get any warning. And of course, in the future, some of these things will be forced. So what I need to do is make one of these things to be double. So if I use the same concept, that if I mix the double and integer, I'm going to get a double, I can easily multiply one of these by 1.0. So that would be the easiest way to do it. I am going to multiply, let's say this one by 1.0. So if I multiply this one by 1.0, what's going to happen? I'm going to take the number of people, which is integer. I'm going to multiply by 1.0 because 1.0 is double. Then it's going to change this one to double. So my number 4 becomes 4.0. Now we're going to do the total candy 9 divided by 4.0. Because I have a mixture, my total candy will be changed to 9.0. So then the whole thing is going to be 9.0 divided by 4.0. That's the one that's going to give me 2.25. Now, C++, has some standard, and those standards are changing. But because it's universal, it takes a while for everybody to get into it and approve it. So moving forward, this is what we are going to be using. So this is what we're using, static typecast, and then we're going to put the data type right here. So I can put double into different data type. So we're going to take whatever it is. Remember, this is just like your functions. So it's going to have a parameter. It's going to take this one and it's going to change it to that data type. Now I am taking my integer, I'm changing it to double. I don't need to do both of them. I just need to do one of them, either numerator or denominator, because C++ is going to take care of the rest of it for me. So I can do it to numerator. So I can use the static cast double. I'm going to put my total candy here. This becomes double. And then when I have a mixture of a double and integer, then this whole thing becomes double, and the result is going to come up as a double. I can also do it to the denominator. So I can use the static type as double to my denominator. My denominator becomes double. Then when I have a mixture of integer and double, it's going to change the whole thing to double. Now, the mistake is going to come in when I try to do this. Why do you think this is not going to work? So I am doing the static cast double. I'm putting my numerator and denominator in there, but this is not going to give me what I want. Why? Why do you think this is not going to work? So remember, parentheses has the highest precedence in the math. So when we put things in the parentheses is going to happen first, then it's going to apply this one. So 9 divided by 4, both of them are integer, so it's going to give me 2, and the static cast double is going to take my 2 and it's going to change it to 2.0. So we got to be careful about how we're going to do this. So, as I said, C++ is changing, and it's getting inputs from all over the place. So I am used to this way of doing it. So this is what I am used to. I just put a double into whatever in front of my variable, and it's going to do it. It doesn't have as much typing, and I'm used to it because I've been using this all the time. So you can either put double and put your variable in the parentheses, or you can put the double in parentheses and the variable. Now, this can eventually discontinue. But for me personally, I'm going to use this till they tell me I cannot use it. But for you guys, first of all, you have to know static cast because it's going to be in your test for sure. And that's the future. So that's something that you want to do. This is going to be the activity that you're going to do after this section. So you want to do 3 things for us. One is going to be what is the result of 11 divided by 2. The other one is doing these things over here, determine the value of POW, FABS, a square root, power, POW, floor, ceiling, and so on and so forth. And the last one is just creating some stuff so you can use it to do that. Be sure you do this before the first class of this chapter so we can discuss this in the class. So the expectation is for you to do this before you come to the class.